Hi there. Where should I start? So I just have a second glance at the shed, I think. We just saw there's some pots and all to go along this front step here. There we go. So I think when you do something like this, you're always thinking, you know, could have done better, sort of thing. But you know, but then I was thinking, well, actually, I've kind of made something out of lots of bits of upcycled stuff. So apart from the cladding, of course, which was pretty crap. So you can see on that back wall there that what I'm sort of aiming to do. Yeah, it's like a nice sort of grid. And so that wall now is gridded, done. So that has been a bad start, and it's almost like a sort of, you know, scramble to find the best pieces you've got, because there's hardly anything in that garage now, which is, it's nice in a sense, because I never thought I'd use that much. This is the stuff. Just so I'm going to get an angle so you can really see how thin it is. Very thin. There you go. Because, you know, the woods, the walls are, one could argue they're slightly off, you know, in terms of straightness. But one thing's for certain, that they're solid. That's, you know, something I've achieved. So there's no need to be buying great big thick pieces of wood. And then you just sort of, I have measured this up. So then, yeah, I'm going to just put it over. The sheets I buy, there's not a lot of choice. Like I said, and you've probably seen on the news, there's not a lot of things on the shelves in the shops at the moment. So this is kind of the biggest I could get, and the cheapest and the thinnest. And it's quite flexible as well. And then bearing in mind you've got to fit it in the blooming car as well. So that's probably the so it won't kind of do the height I want. So I've got to sort of put pieces on and try and do it nice and tightly. When it comes to the ceiling and that, it'd be a lot easier. There won't be a lot of cutting to do because there's just big sheets to put across and the walls as well. But yeah, even cutting, it's been a pain this morning because an angle grinder's too aggressive and it just burns it. And this saw just flaps about, makes it flap about. That red one on the floor, as you know, when I say it wouldn't cut a match, I was spot on. It bloody won't even cut through the thin stuff of that. So I'm just going to chuck that in the bin, I think. And then, of course, if you use a big saw, so what I'm going to do is, just for the, you know, because it is so thin, it has got a rough edge on it. So I'll just literally, because it's so, I can just get some nice coarse sandpaper and just sort of, when I go to the DIY store next, I'll do that. So, yeah. And of course, I'm not just going to put that wood on that grid. I've got like insulation in the garage, so I'm going to stuff that in the gaps and then snug it on, you know. And then I've got some things, you know, not being funny, it's just to wad the wall out really. Got things off our, you know, we do like to get a few things online, and it naturally comes in packaging like this, so I'm going to sort of stuff that in the bottoms as well. Might as well. It's all upcycling, isn't it? So I'm going to stop though now. I just thought I'd just capture this little bit I've done today. But little thought I've had is there's a lot, you know, because I'm going to, once I've done this shed, I'll probably carry on filming actually. and there's a couple of rooms I want to sort out in the house, so you know, carry on the theme, patch it up and do your best kind of flavour, you know what I'm like by now. So I've got 2 rooms to do after this, and then I'm probably being a bit ambitious, but maybe early next year, just before the spring, I'm going to do the allotment. I'm going to do a shed up there, but it's literally going to be taking a lot of lessons I've learned from this one, and hopefully, you know, it ain't gonna be like a room like this really. It's gonna be more of a box to store tools in, maybe put a table and chair, a cup of tea. But nonetheless, it'll be a basic allotment, and of course you're not spoilt with electric up there. You've got to make do with the tools you got, so that'll be an interesting little chapter next year. So it hasn't put me off doing things, you know. It's some days I think, oh, I can't be, you know, it's hard to get motivated, but yeah, and I think in terms of motivation, it's good to keep planning, you know, not too ambitious, but have something ready to explore in the future. And yeah, it's taught me a few things actually doing this, you know, mainly measuring, making sure it's level, and you know, just finding pallets what match and things like that. But it just feels different this week because we're actually inside. The outside's done, so it's all about the inside now. And I reckon, well, I won't put a time on it because you can't really, but I'll stop there. I'm waffling, but just put an extra part in for you today. Tune in. I still see us on 8 subscribers, as you know. All these hours I'm putting in, I need a few more. So, you know, spread the word.